20-kilometer long run is never easy, but when the workout asks you to go for a personal best in the second 10 kilometers, everything changes. Hi everyone, welcome to Data Runner. Today I'm taking you inside one of my key workouts, a 20-kilometer long run split into two parts, and I'll walk you through the sensations, the data, and why this session matters so much for my goal, a half marathon in 6 weeks. This workout is a 20-kilometer long run built in two parts. The first 10 kilometers at a conversational controlled pace. The second 10 kilometers at race pace, around 4:25 per kilometer. On paper, it looks simple. In reality, everything changes. Getting to 10 kilometers with margin is one thing. Running another 10 kilometers at that pace with fatigue already in your legs is a completely different story. This session is part of a bigger training plan. I'm preparing for a half marathon in 6 weeks, aiming for around 1:35. Workouts like this are the bridge between where I am now and that pace. The first 10 kilometers are about control. I just need to accumulate distance without wasting energy, keep my form clean, and reach the turnaround point with real margin. This is exactly what I want from a quality long run. Being able to run fast when I'm already tired. This isn't a classic progression, it's a sharp switch, and that switch is what really builds performance. From the start, the sensations are good. My legs feel light, the pace comes easily. It's one of those moments where I feel like I could go faster, but I choose to hold back. I'm sitting around 5:25 to 5:30, breathing controlled, everything under control. But I already know what's coming, and that completely changes how I'm running right now. These first 10 kilometers aren't a warm-up for me, they're already work. I'm building something. The goal is to reach 10 kilometers with margin, with energy left, without already being tired. Because when I increase the pace, that's when it really starts. I'm running along the Lungotevere cycle path. I start from Ponte Flaminio and head north, passing toward Iquinto. I chose this route because it's perfect, exactly 10 kilometers straight, so the logic is simple. First 10 kilometers north, controlled, then I turn around and come back south. A clean out and back, same surface, same conditions. This helps me stay locked into the pace. No strange variables, no excuses. Right now, the goal is simple. Stay light, stay efficient, don't waste energy. I want every kilometer to feel easy, clean, controlled. Every now and then, there are small climbs. 3 in total. They break the rhythm. The downhills are too steep to really use. The climbs are sharp. They take your breath away, raise your heart rate, and mess with your stride. They're not fast sections. They're interruptions. More than climbs, they're mental tests. I need to absorb the impact and get back into rhythm right away. The scenery is beautiful. It almost feels like being outside the city, not in Rome. And that helps. Running in places like this makes everything feel a bit lighter, both physically and mentally. You can find this route and others in the description. If you're interested in more routes in Rome, let me know in the comments. I can share more. And if you have favorite routes, send them. I'll try them and maybe feature them in future videos. If you don't know me yet, this is Data Runner, a channel where I share my journey in running, workouts, data, progress, but also something more, because running isn't just numbers. It's understanding what's happening inside while your body keeps moving. On screen, you can see the real-time data from my workout visualized with software I built myself. If you like this kind of content, let me know with a like and a comment. The channel is still new and your support really makes a difference. One thing I'm understanding more and more is how important running easy really is. It sounds simple, sometimes it even feels like wasted time, but that's exactly where I build the base, the work you don't see, the work that lets me hold pace when things get hard. In these first 10 kilometers, that's exactly what I'm doing. Controlled pace around 5:30, heart rate stable in zone 2. The goal isn't just to go slow, but to stay at the right intensity. Steady breathing, efficient movement, no unnecessary tension. I try to stay light, not force anything, let the pace come naturally, because every small mistake here, I pay for later. If I push even slightly too much, if I drift into zone 3 without noticing, I'm already using energy I'll need in the second half. For me, running easy is also about energy management, glycogen, muscular fatigue, nervous system. I try to keep everything under control. There's also a physical side you don't see. At this intensity, my body adapts. I become more efficient, I use fat better, and I spare glycogen. In practice, I become more economical. At the same speed, I spend less, and at the same effort, I go faster. Nutrition plays a role here too. If I manage fueling well, I arrive more stable and I can handle the second half better. If I'm underfueled, I feel it immediately. When everything aligns, the difference is clear. Easy pace feels truly easy, and race pace becomes sustainable. I also work on efficiency here, how I move, foot strike, cadence, posture, without the stress of higher speeds. If I make this pace economical, when I switch to 425, I'm not starting from zero. I'm just raising something that's already stable. And that's the difference. As you can see, I chose to keep the first part, the first 10 kilometers, slightly more active. I'm working in the upper part of zone 2. For me, 5:30 per kilometer is still easy, but at the high end, it's controlled but more active than a recovery run. What's interesting is how this pace is changing over time thanks to easy work. Less than a year ago, my zone 2 was around 6:15 per kilometer. That means everything is shifting forward. Same effort, more speed. I finished the first 10 kilometers clean, steady pace, good sensations, no unnecessary spikes. Exactly what I wanted, reaching this point with real margin. Now the real part starts. Let's do the math. 10 kilometers at 4 minutes, 25 seconds per kilometer means 44 minutes, 10 seconds. It's been about a year since I last did a hard 10-kilometer effort, so today this is a real test. My last time on this distance was 46 minutes and 39 seconds, just under a year ago. Today I want to see where I am and whether I can get closer to my personal best or even improve it. There's also an interesting detail. About a month ago, I ran a half marathon in 1:36 with a 10-kilometer split around 45:17, so the improvements were already there. In the first kilometers, I start a bit too fast, around 4:17 to 4:20. I feel good, my legs respond, and I get that strange feeling where slowing down feels harder than just staying there. That's exactly where I risk pushing too much without realizing it. So I try to settle, adjust the pace without breaking the flow. It's not easy because once I'm in push mode, my body wants to go. There's also some wind that occasionally bothers me. Not constant, but enough to make me work a bit more. Here, the key for me is not to force it, but to absorb it and come back to pace. I try to stay focused, steady rhythm, controlled breathing, no wasted energy. I hold the pace. Around kilometer 15, I take a gel. It seems like a small detail, but here it makes a difference. The gel I use has about 20 grams of carbs. Not much, but exactly what I need right now. After more than an hour of running, even if easy, glycogen starts to drop, and as the pace increases, the body relies more and more on carbs. If I didn't refuel, I would start to empty out. Not suddenly, but I would feel the pace getting harder, effort rising, and I'd lose clarity. That's exactly what the gel prevents. Quick fuel, immediately available, no digestion delay. Around kilometer 16, I really start to feel the fatigue. The pace is still there, but the way I feel it changes. What was manageable before now requires more attention. The thought crosses my mind that I might not hold it to the end. I try not to let it grow. I stay on the movement, on the breath, on what I can control. I keep pushing, trying not to tense up. I try to stay as fluid as possible. I feel my heart rate rising, which is normal. Here, the difference for me is staying in it without breaking, holding the pace without making mistakes. I don't need to push more. I just need to keep it one step at a time. The climbs come back and they feel much heavier now. In easy, I absorb them. Here they break my rhythm every time. The stride gets messy, I lose some fluidity and a few seconds. And that's the problem. At this pace, it takes very little to fall out of flow. If I manage even 1 or 2 kilometers poorly, I'm immediately in debt and I have to recover those seconds when I'm even more tired. So here I need clarity. I stay on the movement, avoid rushing, avoid reacting impulsively. If I lose something, I accept it and ease back into pace. Trying to recover too aggressively only makes things worse. At the same time, I need to be honest with myself. If the pace isn't sustainable, it's better to adjust slightly and finish clean than to force it and collapse. Final kilometers. The fatigue is fully there. The last climbs were tough, and for a moment it feels like I might give in, but the pace is still there. Not comfortable anymore, but under control. This is mostly mental now, staying in it, keeping the movement, not getting carried away by thoughts, one step at a time. Okay, done. Second 10 kilometers at 4:24 average on target, 44 minutes final time, personal best achieved. It was hard, slightly harder than expected, but clean, and that's what matters. This workout is one of the building blocks toward the half marathon in 6 weeks. I finished tired, but with something still left. That's the difference. I'm building something for the race ahead. Before wrapping up, I want to take a quick look at a few graphs. I'm focusing on 3 metrics that I think are really important and often overlooked: ground contact time, vertical oscillation, and stride length. Looking at the second 10 kilometers, I can clearly see how these changed as the pace increased. My ground contact time, the time my foot stays on the ground, drops quite a bit as I run faster. My vertical oscillation, how much I bounce up and down, also decreases, and my stride length increases as the pace goes up. Nothing surprising, but it's really interesting to see it so clearly in the data. For now, I just wanted to take a quick look at these. In the next videos, I'll go deeper. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next, and subscribe to Follow the Journey. See you in the next video.